You see an awful lot of career advice today for young people that say tradition doesn't matter because it's all about change. It's all about things new and different and just keep moving. We're now addicted to innovation. And innovation is good as a principle, but when it becomes an addiction where it has to be different in order to get your attention, it means something's wrong with your attention. And we talk about the notion of the workplace should be fun, but an awful lot of young people today now think that the workplace should make them happy. And I was speaking with a group of about 125 architectural students at the University of Michigan, and I had just been kind of doing a little research on this, and I asked the students, how many of you think you have a right to be happy? And almost every single hand went up. To which I had to explain to them, no, you don't have that right. You have a right to pursue it. But if you think it's a right, then it means somebody has to guarantee it for you. And happiness is an individual thing. But it also means, it points towards the notion that when we become a nation of adolescents, when we don't grow up, when we focus in on the self, rather than focusing in on broader things more important than the self. National Academy of Science did a study, said adolescence in the United States now goes from age 12 to age 30. The MacArthur Foundation had a little hissy fit over this, and they said, no, it actually goes up to age 34. And how many of you know people older than age 34 who are still adolescents? Yeah. Attention Deficit Economics. Let me recommend this book, Distracted, by Maggie Jackson. And it's all about what is happening to our attention in this culture. It is subtitled, The Erosion of Attention and the Coming Dark Age. It's sort of a feel-good book for this decade, which I think we're going to call the uh-ohs. In the research she showed, the average American worker spends 11 minutes on any one task before being interrupted. On average, each 11 minutes is fragmented into 3-minute tasks. On average, you have 8 different windows open on your computer screen. Spend on average 20 seconds on a screen before flipping to another. After interruption, it takes you 25 minutes to get back to the task. And after interruption, 40% of you wander off to a completely new task. We often say dealing with interruptions is what I do for a living. Depending on who you trust, Fox News or the New York Times, because if you trust one, you don't trust the other. It's somewhere between $588 billion to $650 billion a year in the United States lost because of our inability to hold attention on something. And it leads to what we call hyper-living. That's where we're skimming along the surface of life, and the whole goal is not to enjoy what you're doing, but to simply finish what you're doing. Sound familiar? Now we have a word for it. There's a great line from Eric Hoffer, the philosopher. He said, the feeling of being hurried is not usually a result of living a full life and having no time. It is rather born of a vague fear that we are wasting our life. And it brings us to the ultimate bottom line, the ultimate horizon, that of children. Children do not filter. They reflect back to us exactly what they see, the world we present to them. We are delusional. We filter things out. But they have been given a world in which nothing can wait, nothing can last, nothing can satisfy. No one can be unhappy. If you were a child in this country today and you were unhappy, particularly if you were a boy and unhappy, you get medicated. It is treated as a disease that must be medicated. That's frightening. No one can be judged. No one can be trusted. Nothing is hidden. There are no more adult secrets. The boundaries between what was once the world of adults, that's been stripped away. And children who cannot reason as well as adults take all of this stuff in, and they make quite often the wrong conclusions about what life's about. Nothing is certain. Nothing is forbidden. Everything is a need. Everything is a choice. There's not a single thing in the lives of children today that's not a choice. They can either choose or have chosen for them. Their parents, their siblings, their gender, their race, their religion, their lifestyle, their education, it's all changeable. And so when you tell them they have to make commitments, their response is, whatever, because they know if they make any commitments, they're going to miss out on the upgrades. Last one is, everything is possible. And I want to suggest that although on the first glance, the notion of everything being possible sounds exciting, but ultimately, it is overwhelming. And a world in which you see everything is not necessarily a world that wants to survive.